Hello, everyone. My name is Mr. Taylor. I'm the high school librarian, and I'd like to show you today how you can log into NoodleTools and how you can use NoodleTools in order to cite the sources you'll need for your Honors American Lit paper. The first step to getting there is to go to Google Drive. And here you'll see on Google Drive in the upper right-hand corner, there is an apps button. It's kind of these 9 dots. If you click on that and scroll to the very bottom, you'll see Noodle Tools here. You do have to be logged into your Penn Manor account. This account is tied to Penn Manor. If you just go to noodletools.com, you won't have the same features that you would if you log in through your Google Drive. When you click on Noodle Tools, you'll be taken to a screen where you might be in. Well, first you might be asked to make sure that you choose your school Google account, and then you'll be taken to a screen where you might be asked to update your profile. Typically, at the beginning of each school year, you do have to do this. If you have not used Noodle Tools before, or this is maybe the first time in a long time that you've used it, you may be asked to fill out some other questions. It may ask you your year of graduation. Just put that information in. The goal here is to save your profile correctly. You do want to make sure it says Penn Manor High School and not one of the middle schools. Uh, the reason is that if you go to share your documents and you are at the wrong school, it won't share correctly. Once this information is updated, you can hit Save Profile. And at that point, you're taken into what is essentially the projects page. There are 5 tabs up here at the top, and so the projects page is just where you'll actually create project for this course. In the left-hand corner, there's a green box that says New Project. We'll click on that, and when I do that, it'll send a pop-up up there, and you'll be able to type in the name of the project. So we'll go Honors American Lit research paper, and we'll put fall 2020. So at this point, you want to make sure you type in the title, make it sure something that you can easily identify. You'll choose the citation style. So you have MLA, APA, or Chicago style from this menu. You'll be using MLA in this course. However, if you do end up using Noodle Tools in another course, you do have the option to choose one of the other citation styles. It can be extremely helpful for those citations when you go to make them. If you do have questions about citations or one of the other styles that are here, you can always ask me those questions, especially if you run across something very difficult to cite. For our purposes for this paper, we found that the junior level is a good level for what we need to do. The advanced level is going to give you a lot of options and probably really too much for our purposes. So again, MLA and junior level. Then you hit the submit button. When you do that, you're taken to what's really it's called your dashboard, but it's almost just like a home page for the project. You're able to share here. If you do need to share, you can share with the project inbox, which we would share with a teacher. And or you could share with other students if you're working collaboratively with some other folks. So for a lot of people, you won't do much on the dashboard. There's not really much information to put. Where you actually do your work is over here at the sources page. And just like when we created a project, in the upper left-hand corner, there is a green button that says New Source. You'll click that. It'll open a pop-up, and you get asked the first question, where is it? This question and the question that follows this are extremely important. If you get either of these questions wrong, you will end up with the wrong citation. Essentially, if you don't know where the information was retrieved from, that will be a problem. For most of the sources you'll use, it will be from a database or from a website. And there are some variations on those. You may find that you actually do have a book, perhaps, but you may not either, and you may end up with these digital sources only. The difference between a database and a website: the database is going to be from one of the places that I'll show you in just a moment or two. It's going to be from a subscription service, something where they have collected data, articles, information, put it together. And a website is just going to be something you found online on the internet. It's important to know the difference between those two for your citations. Many of you will use the Modern American Poetry website, which is really a great resource. And the citation for that is kind of interesting, because you're going to be using these articles and citing them, even though they originally came from books or came from a journal article, perhaps. So if I were to choose here, what is it? And this next question is where you can get into trouble. So let's say I'm on Modern American Poetry and I'm looking at their sources. I need to figure out, where did this piece come from? If it's just an excerpt from a book, I need to be able to identify, okay, that's a book. If it's an excerpt from a journal, I need to identify, okay, that's a journal. If it came from an anthology or a collection, so it was a book with a whole bunch of different essays, a whole bunch of different pieces of information in it, you may choose that one. I will say that for the most part, you're going to be choosing book, journal, or anthology. You'll do a lot of website citations, partly because many of the databases will allow you to automatically create their citations. However, the websites will not. And again, I'll demonstrate how to do that in just a moment, but I'll show you. Let's say that we found a journal article. We go in here, we input the website information, the article information, everything that we have from it. And once you do that, you can save it, and it will create your works cited page for you. Now, if you are using the databases, and I will go to the speed dial page. I'm going to scroll down here to the high school library, and then we are on databases up here at the top. If you click on that, you'll find a list of databases, and Gale Literature is going to be one that makes a lot of sense to use. These are literature-related articles. We also have some other databases that make sense. Not a bad idea to try Power Search if you want to, and if you scroll down, there are some resources in Power Library that you can use. JSTOR also has a lot of articles, although these can be very challenging. These are kind of college level articles that are found on JSTOR. So we'll just stick with Gale Literature for now, and I'll click on that. I guess I'll mention, I nearly forgot, but Gale eBooks, there actually is a nice collection in here that's really useful. I'll scroll down a little bit to show you where that is, but there is a collection that's called Poetry for Students. Some of your poets are included in this series, so you may want to check that out to see if your poet's included. I'll jump back here now. Gale Literature. When I go into Gale Literature, you'll be able to do a search. You can search for your author. You can search for the specific work. You can do an advanced search to help narrow down some of the categories. You can just try out some of the different ways to find information. I'm going to do a quick search here for John Steinbeck, just as an example. And when I search for articles about Steinbeck, I find really way too much. I would have to narrow this down. Maybe I would want to look for something more specific. But as I said, I just want to use this as an example. So I'm going to take this John Steinbeck overview, and I'm going to click on that. Let's say I decide I wanted to use this article. It's got some piece of information in it I want to cite, and I want to make sure that I give credit to that. You have a couple of options here, but one of the easiest ways to do this is to just simply click Cite and then Export to NoodleTools. When I click Export to NoodleTools, I'm given a chance to preview the citation. I can see that it looks the way that I want it to look. One thing to definitely check is the capitalization. Occasionally, the capitalization for the titles is messed up. You should have the major words of a title capitalized, but every once in a while there'll be something where it's incorrect. You do have to check it. Just because the computer's doing it for you doesn't mean it's going to be perfect, and that's on you to do the work of double checking. So down here, you can pick the project you want it to go to. A lot of times it'll default to the last one that you've been in. So if it's the HAL research paper, it's going to default right to that. I can import the references directly to my project. I'll go ahead and do that. And now I've successfully sent that citation out. So I found a source. The source is in NoodleTools. Now I'll be able to easily cite that source when I need to. So I'll go back up here to I'm going to reload the sources page. And when I reload the sources page, you'll see that I was able to find this was a selection. This was a book, a chapter from a book. It identifies that for me right here, but it's essentially done the entire citation, and it's complete now. What's nice about this is it takes out some of the guesswork. It helps you out somewhat. You still have to cite the websites on your own, and you're going to have to fill in those blanks to do that. But when you are done and you have all your sources together and you're sort of worked through them, you're able to very easily ship them over to Google Docs. And when you do ship them over to Google Docs, it will create a works cited page for you based on the sources you have there. And again, it takes care of a lot of the guessing and a lot of the formatting that MLA requires. And very briefly, I'll explain there are a lot of MLA rules at hand in play right here that this is taken care of. Everything on an MLA works cited page needs to be double spaced. This right here is called a hanging indent. It is required. All of the works will appear in alphabetical order, and even though we only have one, if we had two, you would see they're in alphabetical order. The page number is up here. This is the only thing you might actually have to change. You might have to put your last name before that, and then this will be the last page of your research paper. Let's say it was a 7-page paper. The margins are exactly 1 inch. The font is Times New Roman 12. All of these formatting options and choices are already in place for you. If you were to choose something else to change those, you would lose points for not being in the MLA format. And again, that's really one of the great benefits. Not only does NoodleTools cite things very quickly for you, especially those things you can export from the databases, but on top of that, it also creates a works cited page where you don't lose points automatically, where those points hopefully are all saved for you. Everything will look nice and clean, and your teacher is going to be able to look at this page and see your sources and be able to check those in-text citations with the everything that you have used. So again, this is NoodleTools. We covered how you can log into NoodleTools, how you create a project in NoodleTools, how you can send a source from a database into NoodleTools, but also how you could cite a website from NoodleTools. The databases are available here on the library webpage, so make sure that you make good use of those. If you have questions or if there's information that I can help you with, please reach out. My name is Mr. Taylor, and my email address is jeffrey.taylor@penmanor.net. I'm happy to help you with this project. I am familiar with your authors. I am familiar with the expectations with this paper. And if you find that you're not getting the resources that you need, or you have questions about how to really work on your paper, how to put it together, if there's something that I can help you do, please let me know. One last thing that I'll mention is on the database page, before I forget to mention it, on the database page at the very, very bottom, there's a database password sheet. The password sheet will allow you home access. It's pretty important if you're working on this and you're not in the school building. So that will get you into the databases at your house or your home. All right, that's everything for now. Again, contact me if you have questions, And have a great day. And I hope to see you soon.